rise and pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meeting Act has been given by the clerk in the following manner. 1, posted in the bulletin board in the Borough Clerk's office on January 6, 2014. 2, emailed to the retrospect in the Courier Post on January 6, 2014. Roll call.
Mayor Calhoun.
Here.
Mr. Potts.
Here.
Mrs. Passio. Here. Mrs. Moore. Here. Mr. Root.
Here.
Mrs. Kelly. Here. Mr. Farrell.
Here.
Mr. Wood.
Here.
Mr. Bayshore.
Here.
And Mr. Wright is coming.
Okay, we're going to dispense with the regular order of the meeting, and we're going to honor our current mayor, Mayor Sis Calvadas, her 4 years as mayor, and also, how many years?
40 years.
40 years.
Wow.
I'm older than your kid's age.
So what we're going to do? All right. What we have here is we have a plaque. Our appreciation to Bertha Sis Calvadas for the many years of loyalty and dedication you have given to the Borough of Runnemede as a member of council and serving as our mayor from January 1st, 2011 to December 31st, 2014. On behalf of the residents of Runnemede and the members of the Borough Council, we thank you for your outstanding service. Presented. We have this evening our entire police department.
Thank you.
Come up.
You can see that funny picture. You won't miss me out, Steve. Guys are tight. Thank you. Hi, John. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, how are you? Hey, Billy. How are you? Thank you. I'll be here still.
I'll still be.
Right. Thank you. I'll take a minute to thank everyone and the police officers. I mean, I've seen them come and I've seen them go, and I'm still here. But I only got a few more weeks, and I'm glad I got a chance to come back to work. I don't stay long in the office, but I do show my face for a while. And June has been picking me up, bringing me in every morning at 7:30. So I'm here again to sign the checks. And it's just been a pleasure. And I started at the bottom like everybody else did. I started as the secretary of the Board of Health, and then I went in to be the welfare director here, and I was that for over 20 years. And then I got canceled. They just kept saying, "Come on, sis, run." So I did. And then I became the mayor, which was a shock. And but the girls in the office and the staff and all the people that I've met, they've been wonderful. So, and my family, they stuck by me. And I know I look a little different right now, but that's what happens when you turn purple. You lose all your oxygen in your body. But I'm doing good now. So I want to thank everybody for being my friend. Now we'll get back to the meeting. I'm up to council. Can I have a motion for the approval of minutes for 10/28 and 11/5/14?
I so move. I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Reports. Construction code official.
Does anybody know?
What do you need, Joyce?
The line on the microphone is not attached for some reason.
Joyce,
I'd like to.
I know, I saw that.
Okay. You hear me? Okay, we have the report of the construction official.
Can't hear you, Joyce.
Can't hear it?
I,
Report.
Okay.
Report of the construction official. Let me turn this up. For the month of November, a total of $7,917 was collected in various fees. All monies were turned over to the treasurer. We have the report of the police department for the month of November, a total of $94.55 was collected for various accident discoveries, solicitor reports, and firearm claims. All monies were turned over to the treasurer. We have the report of the municipal court for the month of October, a total of $13,354.10 was collected in fines, and all monies were turned over to the treasurer. We have the report of the borough clerk for the month of November, a total of $2,875.28 was collected for various permits and licenses. All monies were turned over to the treasurer. We have the report of the fire marshal for the month of November, a total of $8,669.36 was collected in fees. There were 69 inspections completed, 137 incidents, and 1 Type 1 permit issued. The emergency medical fees collected in November were $17,024.98. All monies were turned over to the treasurer. We have the report of the Registrar of Vital Statistics for the month of November. A total of $3,074 was collected for death copies, marriage copies, and marriage licenses. All monies were turned over to the treasurer. We have the report of the tax collector for the month of November. A total of $2,935,089.45 was collected in taxes. And in sewer rentals, $36,045.02. The President of Council has asked me to address the tax collection delinquency issue. Last week I sent out over 200 delinquent notices accompanied by a letter that I usually send out in December, explaining why the payment of the current year taxes is so important to the borough for all residents. The example that I give in the letter is if we only collect 96% of our taxes for the current year, that other 4%, which equals approximately $650,000 to $700,000, that begins the budget before anything else next year. So that money has to be raised by taxation before your police department gets their salaries paid, before your lighting on the streets is done, before your streets are paid. So when you choose not to pay your taxes on time by the end of the year, not you personally, that affects everyone, because that $700,000 that's right now sitting out there unpaid will cost everyone more, because that's what we have to raise in 2015. So we're asking everyone if they could please bring their taxes current to before 12/31. It makes a big difference in how we begin the year and what your tax rate will be for next year. Thank you. And that's all that I have.
okay, let me see.
Just a motion. To approve the reports.
I have a motion to approve these reports.
I'll make a motion.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Communications.
We have one letter from the Runnemede Fire Company regarding their for the purchase of a new fire apparatus.
No, no, just need a motion. Motion to receive and, I'm going to take the motion to receive and file and understand that the fire department did a good job of explaining some issues that were still outstanding.
Make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. 5 ordinance. Right?
The bond.
This is a public hearing, bond ordinance 1423, authorizing the completion of various capital improvements and the acquisition of capital equipment in and for the Borough of Runnemede, County of Camden, New Jersey, appropriating the sum of $460,000 therefore, authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds or bond anticipation notes in the aggregate principal amount of up to $437,000, making certain determinations and covenants and authorizing certain related actions in connection with the foregoing ordinance. Amending, foregoing ordinance, that's it.
That's right.
That shouldn't be there, I don't know what it is.
Okay, that's the.
This is open to the public. Anyone wishing to speak on this issue and this issue only should step up to the microphone and state your name and address.
Seeing no one, I make a motion to close the public portion.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it.
Uh,
Is it then a roll call?
Well, no, we didn't, now we
Now we'll do
do.
the motion to adopt. I make a motion to adopt on second and final reading and advertise according to law. I second that motion.
And roll call.
Mrs. Curley.
Yes.
Mrs. Moore.
Yes.
Mrs. Passio.
Yes.
Mr. Root.
Yes.
Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
And Mr. Pappas.
Yes.
6 ayes.
6 yes. I move that this has been adopted. Committee reports, finances. Nick?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to rely on my report from the caucus. It's always extensive, and so let me go over it again. We have a few other things that, obviously, the most important thing is what we just did, the bond ordinance, which allowed us to purchase a trash truck, repair our buildings and grounds, and, what else on there? 2 police vehicles, hopefully with all the bells and whistles. I think some other things. I can't recall. So other than that, progress. Thank you.
Thank you. Public safety, Ellen Kelly.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Raffle license 15-03, 50/50 cash raffle license for Holy Child Parish to be held on February 21st, 2014. All paperwork is in order, and I'd like to make a motion to approve the raffle license. This is
Yeah.
2015.
I'll
It
second
should be
that.
2015.
You make a motion?
I think there's a correction there. It should be 2015.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So I'll make a motion to approve the cash raffle license for February 21st, 2015.
I'll second that.
Motion. Second.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
And I'd like to continue my report. Fire fees collected for November are $17,000 for the EMS, $17,024.98. Year-to-date EMS fees collected is $241,352.25. And the total year-to-date, including all of November, is $295,759.12, which is comparable or better than last year. The fire department has completed their annual hose testing, and this is all part of the Beaverbrook Regional Fire Alliance, and it allows for a group of the 5 towns to utilize these vendors. The full-time staff has continued working on their routine inspections. The EMS staff supervisors continue working with the full-time staff and trying to maintain staffing for all shifts. This has always been a difficult thing to do because we man the firehouse 24/7, around the clock, 365 days a year. Monthly training was conducted by Training Officer Kearney on the respiratory fit test for the members in the department to meet the OSHA guidelines. They are continuing with their firefighter grant applications. If you listened in the caucus, we were talking about the SAFER grants and other grants. They've been in contact with Cory Booker, looking for his support, and I think it's going to move forward. We've had a number of grants in the past number of years. Over 600,000 have been granted to us by these different applications. So our men are working very diligently to achieve more funding for what we need in the fire department. To continue on with my police report, the number of calls for service in November were 555. Year to date, 7,218. We had motor vehicle crashes this month, 28. We had 99 arrests for this month in November. Our arrests year to date, 1,353. And only 10 hours of overtime this month. Thank you, Chief, for that. That's well appreciated. Beautiful report. That's my report, ma'am.
Thank you. Pat, public events?
Popping up. Thank you, Mayor and Council. It was a great night seeing so many people having much fun at our Christmas tree lighting and fire truck parade. The arrival of Santa and Mrs. Claus on their sleigh brought smiling faces to many. We want to thank Triton's Student Council, Key Club, and the 2017 class officers for volunteering their time helping us to entertain the children and adults. Samantha Spalding, who volunteered her time and brought us these hard-working elves. The VFW, Deluxe Bakery, our police officers, our firemen, Public Works, my committee, everyone who helped put up the decorations and breaking them down and working the night, making this a huge success. Whether your role was big or small, it couldn't have been done without you. So to the Runnemede residents, we thank you and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Concludes my report.
Thank you. Engineering, Bob?
Thank you, Mayor. One thing I really have to report is we're still working on Washington Avenue. We had a couple of problems with the soil, which pushed us back a little, and right now we're having a problem with some machinery. So when that's fixed, the street will be fixed. We'll be starting Irish Hill in the spring or when the weather gets better, so I look forward to that too. That's everything I've reported.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public Works, Beverly?
Thank you, Mayor. I am really going to rely on, one time, I'm going to go out and say I'm going to rely on my caucus report. Other than reporting, we are picking up leaves, and we will continue to pick up leaves until all of the leaves are gone. So please be patient with us. There's a lot of leaves on a tree, so they have been out and they will continue to be out. Other than that, I'm going to report progress.
Thank you. Mike?
Thank you,
Parks and
Mayor.
Recreation?
Parks and Recreation, we just received the prints on the pole barn at the RYAA. We contacted our admin to start the foundation process, so you should be seeing that starting in the next couple of weeks. And coming up next week, I have a meeting with girls softball, so we can get into a coalition with the town and girls softball as well, like kind of what we're doing with the RY. And that's it, Mayor.
Thank you. Administration, Richard? Oh, you left today. Okay,
We'll be back.
after Wasco. Solicitor, Matt?
Progress.
Good for you, Matt. Engineer, Mark?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would also like to rely on my report I gave at caucus and what Bob added regarding the Reed Avenue, Irish Hill, Washington Avenue, and Irish Hill Road. We do have an ordinance later tonight regarding the new zoning map that we talked about at caucus, so other than that, progress.
Thank you, Mark. business. Public comments on the agenda?
Yeah, no one takes advantage of this. This portion of the meeting is open to the public. Just to make everybody aware again, the idea of this public portion is to allow members of the public to voice any concerns they have on what we're going to be voting on. So we have 16 or 17 ordinances and resolutions. If anybody has any questions, this is your opportunity to come up and question those. If not, yeah, we'll move on. If not, I make a motion to close the public portion.
I'll second.
Which one?
I'll second that motion.
The closing?
Yeah, hold it
All
together.
right. All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. New business. Proclamation.
Yes.
We have a proclamation, Runnemede Day at Longwood Gardens, December 6, 2014. Would you like me to read it? Yes.
We like listening to you.
Whereas each year Longwood Gardens accepts applications for schools and for classrooms to decorate one of 13 holiday trees in their conservatory throughout the holiday season. Whereas Mrs. Sparpiak Malloy, Bingham and Downing's art teacher, along with the second grade teachers, applied for the opportunity to decorate a tree that connected with the theme of birds. Whereas their Fa La Lamingo idea that includes all types of ornaments and garland that focused on flamingos and seashore was chosen. And whereas our second grade students decorated the tree, which will be on display from November 28th through January 11th in the conservatory at Longwood Gardens. And whereas the citizens of Runnemede wish to congratulate Mrs. Sparpiak Malloy and the second grade students for this great honor. And therefore be it resolved that I, Bertha Calvadas, Mayor of the Borough of Runnemede, do hereby proclaim December 6, 2014 as Runnemede Day at Longwood Gardens in honor of this achievement. And be it further resolved that on behalf of the entire citizenry of Runnemede, I would like to congratulate these students and the staff involved for the Runnemede holiday spirit they impart to all, viewing their accomplishment and thus representing the best that Runnemede has to offer. Bertha Calvadas, Mayor.
Yes.
Resolution 14-176 is a resolution authorizing a refund of the security deposit to the VFW for the use of the highway funds.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mrs. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mrs. Passio?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Root?
Yes.
And Mr. Kapotas?
Yes.
6 ayes.
I move the resolution is now adopted.
Resolution 14-177 is a resolution authorizing the transfer of a premium from the tax collector's redemption account to the general fund. This is that, as chief, that we talked about in the caucus.
I so move.
Second that?
Roll call.
Mrs. Kelly?
Yes.
Mrs. Passio?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Root?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
And Mr. Kapotas?
Yes.
6 ayes.
I move this resolution is now adopted.
Resolution 14-178 is a resolution authorizing an interlocal services agreement by and between the Borough of Runnemede, the Borough of Barrington, and the Borough of Haddon Heights relative to a multi-jurisdictional investigation.
I so move.
Roll call.
Mrs. Kelly?
Yes.
Mrs. Passio?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
I have a question. Can I ask a question? Did we work out all the details of this?
Yes.
Pretty much the boilerplate that we have.
What we have to do now is, once we approve it, it goes to the other councils, and they sign off
And
on
we
it.
left off the scheduling issues that we were discussing in caucus?
We're allowing that to be done by the chief.
The chiefs are going to do that and present that to us.
Okay. All right, yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Root?
Yes.
And Mr. Kapotas?
Yes.
6 ayes.
Move this resolution is now adopted.
Resolution 14-179 is a resolution authorizing the Borough of Runnemede to enter into an interlocal services agreement with the County of Camden for furnishing and delivery of sodium chloride in many various forms. I will list them all.
I make a motion. I second the motion.
Roll call.
Passio?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Root?
Yes.
Mrs. Kelly?
Yes.
And Mr. Capani?
Yes.
I move this resolution is now adopted.
Resolution 14180 is a resolution authorizing the acceptance of a performance and maintenance surety bond provided by South Jersey Gas Company for the purpose of fuel awards.
I make the motion.
Roll call.
Mrs. Kelly?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Passio?
Yes.
Mr. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
And Mr. Capani?
Yes.
I move this resolution is now adopted.
Resolution 14181 is a resolution to enroll 2 Class 2 officers into the Camden County Police Academy.
I so move.
Second that motion?
Roll call.
Mrs. Kelly?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Passio?
Yes.
Mr. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
And Mr. Capani?
Yes.
6-0.
I prepared the collateral agreement that is contemplated by that resolution. So with your permission, I just give it to the chief.
Yeah, it was what we discussed.
Absolutely. You want to bring the young man back here? No, I won't have time to read it. I'll give it to you, you give it to him, and if he has questions, he'll call me. And then when he's done, we'll get it back.
Absolutely. I'll be done before he goes into the police academy.
I move this resolution is now adopted. That's okay.
Resolution 14182 is a resolution authorizing an agreement between the Animal Welfare Society and the Borough of Runnemede for animal shelter services. This came in the mail today. I sent it over to Len to look at, and they actually say in the letter, they must have a signed contract on or before December 31st in order to ensure uninterrupted service in the new year. So Len looked at it, said it was fine, if no one has any objections. Rich said, put it on, they actually raised our rates though, $100 a month.
It's a lack of options thing, so.
Yeah, there are no objections.
Go on.
It's easy.
Okay, roll call on that.
No,
Need a motion.
I make a motion to open.
I second that motion?
Now roll call.
Mrs. Kelly?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Passio?
Yes.
Mr. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
And Mr. Capani?
Yes.
I move this resolution is now adopted.
A resolution authorizing Resolution 14183 is a resolution authorizing the Borough Administrator to execute a memorandum of agreement with the GWU, the Government Workers Union.
I make a motion to approve.
Second that motion?
Roll call.
Mrs. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mrs. Passio?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Root?
Yes.
And Mr. Capani?
Yes.
I move this resolution is now adopted.
And I have the memorandum, we looked at it at August.
I have it attached to it.
Uh,
You're talking about this? Or is there an
Yeah.
actual?
No, it's a little short thing. I have Mr. Wright executed, and because I'm required to communicate with the PERC representative tomorrow morning to let her know what he has to do.
Okay. You're welcome.
Resolution 14184 is a resolution confirming 2014 appointments. Christine Harper, Records Technician 2.
Matter, one second. You just put a little character, but support in between records and technician.
Excuse me?
Record support technician.
Record support technician
Yes.
should be there. 184.
Is that the civil service classification?
That's the proper.
That's the proper.
Record Support Technician 2, hours of work 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at $25,076.
I make a motion to approve.
Second that motion?
Roll call.
Mrs. Kelly?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore?
Yes.
Yes. Mrs. Passio?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Root?
Yes.
And Mr. Capani?
Yes.
I move this resolution is now adopted. Christine. please. Res-
Resolution 14185 is a resolution authorizing the shared services agreement between the Borough of Runnemede and the Township of Gloucester for pothole repair services.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mrs. Kelly.
Yes.
Mrs. Vacy.
Yes.
Mrs. Moore.
Yes.
Mr. Root.
Yes.
Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
And Mr. Pappas.
Yes.
6 ayes.
So hold on.
This resolution is now adopted.
That's from your administrative agency.
It's fine.
No, I don't know. He's making comments here. I don't know what to say. Are we ready for
Yeah.
the first reading?
First reading.
Ordinance 1424, an ordinance amending and supplementing the zoning ordinance of the Code of the Borough of Runnemede to adopt the updated zoning map and to define the public, quasi-public land district and other legal requirements.
I make a motion to adopt on first reading and advertise according to law at a public hearing to be held at a council meeting on December 30th, 2014, beginning at 6 p.m.
I second that motion.
Roll call.
Mrs. Kelly.
Yes.
Mrs. Moore.
Yes.
Mrs. Passier.
Yes.
Mr. Root.
Yes.
Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
And Mr. Pappas.
Yes.
6 ayes.
I move this resolution. Then adopted.
Are we ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Ordinance 1425 is an ordinance amending emergency no parking regulations in the Borough of Runnemede. These are the snow routes.
What we should do is do a motion and a second and discussion.
Okay.
Correct?
I make a motion.
Just to determine the snow.
Well, we're gonna have discussion.
We did, the process should be motion, second, and then discussion.
Okay, I make a motion to adopt the first reading and advertise according to law at a public hearing to be held at a council meeting on December 30th, 2014, beginning at 6 p.m.
I second.
Now let's
Now the discussion.
It was my thought when I drafted it.
Len, if you want to talk to the microphone.
So when I drafted it, because I know there was still a discussion that council wanted to have regarding the actual snow routes. But I also knew that you collectively wanted to try to get this done before it snows. So what my suggestion was, is from first reading, we just incorporate as a Schedule A, the proposed streets that were listed when the emergency management gentleman spoke to us last week. And then in the interim, the subcommittee can discuss it, make all the alterations and amendments, and then on the final reading, you can have your final. But at least you have it on the table, and you can theoretically adopt it at the end of December. That was why I did it this way.
And for clarification, if for some reason we don't get it done before the end of the year, this ordinance would languish, and then we would have to start over again next year. So if for some reason we can't get this resolved, we can just start again next year, because I think there are some concerns.
There are, I think there are. I mean, I think it's, well, I think I'm right here. I think it's an issue that I think we collectively all discussed in caucus. It's definitely something that should be on radar for making sure that certain streets can be cleared, in my opinion, curb to curb, so that there's better access. But I think it's also a concern that it could become excessive. I mean, doing the majors is one thing, but I think if we take into consideration, it is an expense to put up the signs. It is something that we do need to notify all of the residents. I mean, I think that that's the courtesy that we as a borough need to extend to them, to make them aware that this is what is going to be happening on their street. So I think there's a little bit of detail that needs to be, that's just my thought on it. I'm not saying, I think police can do, I can't think do an emergency situation if there was a snow fall as a temporary order, that the residents can then start to be notified, because it's like everything, it's got a curve to it that you need to let them know. Otherwise, it's gonna be like anarchy, everybody's gonna freak out when they realize that they've either gotten a warning or a ticket or something else because they're parked on a snow emergency route. It's something new to introduce into town.
Yeah,
I think we need to tread kind of carefully in the beginning.
And you have two parts in this. So one is the declared emergencies. Okay, so which we're calling the snow. So those roads are going to be marked permanently as snow emergency routes. So when the emergency is declared, other than trying to communicate communicate the fact that we declared an emergency appropriately, there's no other signage that's going to be needed.
Right.
The other part of it is for other areas where there might be what we'll call the temporary situation, that requires us to post the signage before we can enforce anything.
Okay.
Whatever that might be. It might be additional streets for snow, it might be a water main break, or who knows what it might be. So it's really two components. Snow emergency route, going to be marked with permanent signs, so that's that, once the emergency is declared. And then the emergency ones, which require specific individual postings at that moment
Okay.
before they can be enforced. But that's the way it's structured.
Most of the emergency routes were around the school areas to begin with, which is definitely a priority. I mean, even though the schools would more than likely would be closed if there was a snow emergency. However, I do think those roads are also some of the busier traveling roads in town. So it would be nice to have them be able to be clear, like I said, side to side. It would be awesome.
But just take the time to look at it, so you can see the demarcation between the snow emergency and the
Because you amended the current ordinance,
That's
right?
correct.
We have a current ordinance that allows for emergency closures of streets. And that's all you
Have
did
we
is,
ever done it? That's really.
But-
well, the police do it during 4th of July.
No, but I'm saying in a snow situation, have we ever really closed the street and said, you need to get your car off?
Yes, we've had. 1995, when we had massive snow, we've actually made people remove it since we had trucks hauling snow.
Correct, but since then, not so much, so.
No, that's correct. And
But
last
we-
year, they did a great job.
We definitely need to make this clear, because if we're going to go through this effort and do this, then we're going to have towing companies on notice, and if the cars are on the street, they will be wherever they have to go be picked up. So we definitely will send, we have 200, our system has the ability to send letters to everyone,
Right,
like
and
the
I
planning
think
board.
that's true.
So they will be notified, and I think the police can put out those wooden placards that say temporary emergency, no parking. But if we do this and we don't enforce it, then we're wasting our time.
I understand, and it's not to belabor this too much, but obviously the proposed routes were half of the community.
And we need to address that.
And I think that was the concern.
That's part of the concern for
Right.
my.
But I think the police department and the fire department can give us a little more guidance.
And I think there is a clause in there that says if there's no signage, it's not enforceable. So
Yes.
obviously, if we put the signage out there, then that would be, the streets would be clear at that point in time.
I understand.
Gotta talk loud
Well,
enough.
you did on the first year.
It's multiple levels. In order for us to enforce our snow emergency, I believe the mayor declares the emergency locally. It's not declared by the emergency management team, it's declared by the mayor, and then the team can take effect. Now, there can, the state would.
Right, I know the state does it,
Right.
but can the town do it prior to the state?
Yes, we
Yes.
can. We have, yes, because if we have a different situation, we have a ice break and the roads are frozen over with ice, then we can declare it.
No, I just wondered, because we constantly hear during snowstorms, the state issuing a state of emergency, but it's
Want to talk
not,
loud enough so the public can hear this?
it's not an
They're not
emergency
hearing you.
here.
Unless it's declared. by the mayor.
Well,
And they tell you that at the state level. If you,
Yeah.
I follow them on the web, and they'll send you emails through the Nextel or Nextel or whatever it's called. And they'll tell you state of emergency roads, now they even put in parentheses, roads not closed, or something like that. So it's very rare that they actually say you can't drive in the state
I
of
think it's
emergency.
a good thing, but I think we need to tweak it. I just think that there's things that should be tweaked along.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, we have a motion and a second, so now we're good. We'll roll call it. Like I said, if we can get it done before the end of the month, if not, it just die on the vine and start again next year.
Oh,
It dies on the vine.
Then it will be approved.
okay, let's go with roll call, I call. Let's go.
Mrs. Kelly?
Yes.
Mrs. Moore? Mrs. Casio? Yes. Mr. Root?
Yes.
Mr. Farrell? And Mr. Provado?
Yes.
This resolution is now adopted. This is in
Discussion of the trash contract with Belmont.
Mr. Wright never gave his report.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Let's go back to the regular report.
Absolutely. I will basically just have three things, which will end with the contract. The first item was
Loud
just,
enough.
not loud enough, Mayor? How's that? The first item was Resolution 14185, which you voted on. That is the shared service for the pothole filling. That basically stemmed from a meeting with the members of the Public Works Committee, meeting with, I guess, the Assistant Superintendent from Gloucester Township. We definitely have a need, and basically what they will do is they will supply the truck and the driver at cost plus 10%. The 10% is for fuel, depreciation on the vehicle, and fuel, the maintenance of their vehicle, so, which is pretty reasonable. We will provide one senior laborer. So this way he knows our town and he knows what a pothole is versus what their driver thinks a pothole is. To dovetail into that, I've spoken with the director, I've also spoken with council president, and if everyone's in agreement here, I don't think we need a vote, we will put out on the website, report a pothole. But you have to give a street address, you can't just say over by Deluxe Bakery. I mean, you gotta be specific. It worked very well with the yard sales, it wasn't too difficult to keep track of, and hopefully it will be on a Friday because they're off on Fridays. Hopefully in the next 3 weeks, we can get the first round. Gloucester Township is off, well, not us, I said that. So basically that's what we're looking to do there. This machine can work in all weather except for extreme weather, so they don't shut down because it's a little bit chilly. He basically said that the way that their machine works, they blow out the pothole, as long as there's not thick ice in it or snow in it. They spray a tar-like substance in there, they put the mixture, the aggregate mixture in there, and then they cover it with a layer of stone, which would basically, I guess it's fine stone, which will blow away. He says that basically the manufacturer says this lasts 4.5 to 5 years. It's not like the cold patch that's out for next day. So we're pretty excited that we have this opportunity, and it'll be a test. If it works, we will continue to do it until we get caught up with our problems. So that was the first item for 14-185. Just a couple points. Single stream recyclables for the month, we did 83.68 tons and brought in $1,200 of revenue. Trash removal provided by the Mountie from Belmar interlocal with us for November. The cost was $15,034 and tonnage disposed was 226.47 tons. The agreement going into 2015, there's a slight increase, it's approximately 4.9%. So the monthly cost on this agreement would be $15,786. It's an increase of about $9,000, which is pretty fair considering the costs of the manpower and things of that nature. It's working out well for us. Still significantly less than what we were paying when we had the outside contractor. In this agreement, they are changing the way that it's structured. I believe it's going to be split 50-50 between Mountie from and Belmar, as opposed to the way it is currently, which I believe it's heavier on the Belmar side. But that doesn't really impact us. We
How
still
much
get
does it change for us? Is anything
About
change for us?
9,000 a year.
it does not change anything for us.
Will they be picking up public cans?
Public cans, on the pike, we talked about it, but we're also going to be looking into possibly modifying it going into 2015.
Okay.
So we can, but that, we also want to put a dumpster at Public Works and have them pick that dumpster up also.
Okay.
So there's a couple
I just
tweaks
knew
we're
that
looking.
was something we had talked about.
Correct. It was a question of which cans they were going to do, so we needed to give them a list to make that part clear. So that's basically what happened.
So the more we recycle, the better it is for us overall. So I urge, again, as always, recycle, please recycle.
Director, would you like me to go over to, did you do the herbalist?
I did not,
Okay,
but you can,
if you don't mind.
not at all.
Okay, we have 2 quotes in. One is for the senior center, for the lighting in the senior center. It's from Gem Electric, it's for $4,800 to replace the 22 light fixtures in there. They're T12 types, we have to replace them with T8. That will improve the lighting there. And we also have a revised quote, because we have multiple quotes, and I asked them to revise it. We have a quote for 20 lights at the gym to replace them and to switch the light switches over with the LED switch lighting, and he said it won't be a problem to put the switching in so that there's 2 switches at both entrances. And that quote, including the rental of the lift, is $16,305.
And so now we don't have to use the breakers anymore. We don't have to go in the electric room and use breakers.
Correct. And I believe there's key switches also on the walls, but I don't know who has the key switches, the keys for the key switches, so,
The light fixtures that are spec'd out,
yes.
where do those specs come from for the lights for the gym?
From Gem Electric.
No,
It's not from us.
no.
Do we get any other quotes?
Not at this point, that's what I have.
We're not looking to
Obviously,
approve
the
these at this
16.
point, or?
We're not, this is just.
No, this is just informational to let you know that we're moving forward. We're moving forward on fixing the lighting.
$16,305.
Right.
Is the goal to try to spend the money before the end of the year? Is that the goal?
I don't think
We
so.
have the bond, if we wanted to do one of them or both of them as operational, if the there was money in the budget at the
Because I
December meeting.
I
We
want to
looked
make sure
at.
that these lights, we had talked about it before, that like, what Triton has done to their gym as far as lighting goes and improvements to their gym, I mean, it's a spectacular situation. I mean, it's very brightly lit, it's nice, it's good.
Right.
So, I mean, I think it's something, I don't want to say we should do it exactly, but it's something we could definitely model after. So I don't know exactly if we should just reach out to them and try to find out what they did, just so we can have something comparable. I mean, I think we all agree that
Yes.
that was
Yes.
something that we absolutely did.
I think they did the
I
homework.
think it's a step in the right direction that we've gotten pricing before.
Right, this quote here is good for 30 days. Obviously, after that, they would just quote it.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you, Mr. Wright.
Discussion on trash.
I said that.
Is that what they're-
That's what that was.
Paying the bills.
I make a motion to pay the bills.
I second that motion.
Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mrs. Kelly.
Yes.
Mr. Fallon. And Mr. Ruth.
Yes.
6 ayes.
Hey,
Good and welfare portion.
This portion of the meeting is open to the public. Anyone wishing to speak, please come to the microphone, state your name and address. Come on up.
Dwayne Yates, 125 East Third Avenue, Runnemede. I have a question on the emergency snow route. I know it's not written in stone yet, okay? I live by the school, down the school. We have parking issues all day long, but even though one side of the curb's painted yellow, they're still there. It's bad at 3 o'clock. Definitely, you can't get down the road. The emergency snow route, I mean, I know that people can't park on the road. What about people, not only myself, a lot of my neighbors don't have driveways. They can't park on the street. Some of them have 2 or 3 vehicles, not enough room in the driveway. The lady right next to the school, she can park 2 vehicles, but she has 3, which go for another vehicle. They have a boat and 3 vehicles. I have enough, I can put my boat there, and my 2 vehicles, I can't put my 3rd vehicle there. Where are we gonna get out to park? You know what I mean, because there's other people. up there
Joanne, I
that
think
buy
that
cars.
one of the concerns is what you're talking about, that we have to look at these roads, we have to see if they, are conducive to force people to move their vehicles. You're right, where would they move? So we have to look at all
We
this.
come down to the Borough line.
Yeah. We kind of jumped on this a little bit because of the bad winter we had last year, because our
Right.
emergency management coordinator told us it was something that he felt was important, so our solicitor took the initiative to get us something. Council does have an obligation to go out there and look at these roads and decide. We have a committee
They're just saying
set
from
up.
Hill to Central on East Third. I mean, the lady up the street from the bend, you know where that old Georgiana house is?
Right, but
She has 5 vehicles.
Yeah, but those are all preliminary things, and again, even if she does have 5 vehicles, and it's a temporary situation. It's removing whatever you can park in your driveway and removing that vehicle to whatever the location is somewhere else, even if it's another street that's not an emergency street,
Okay.
as a temporary
To
situation.
get the road clear.
So to get the road clear. It's not a permanent thing that it goes on for days and days and days.
Right.
It's a right now, we need to get these streets clear.
So those
And
cars-
it does
And I
happen-
understand that.
Right, it does happen in other towns, and they have to move the vehicles, unfortunately, and it's just, you need to move it to the next street. Clear, but then it can come back eventually, I mean, within a.
Yeah, the cars can come back.
For a period of time. So I mean, we're tweaking it.
Then another question. On the sewer line, where I'm at, I live right near a main sewer line. That's a problem. It's like, I'll say within the year, I've had them out there 6 times.
Which one's your line?
Yeah. It's like, because the water comes down, it seems like on a rainy day, the water will come downhill, and I seem to get all the,
Joanne, are you talking about the stormwater drains or the sewer?
now the sewer, sewer backs up, it goes out the street.
Your sewer backs up in the street, not the stormwater. We have a separate system.
Yeah, I go see,
I will have to-
I mean, this, one utility, they come out, 100 out, and,
They can jet.
Now, the one time I had it, which was back in my line, so I can get a plumber out there, make sure everything.
The only thing they can do is make sure the main is clear, from out in the street. But I mean, if it's something that's being plunged.
I mean, you can look at their records and see how
that's-
many times they've been there.
Yeah, absolutely, they have records of it. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it's gonna be a pain in that.
all right, we'll talk to them. I mean, I'll talk to the sewer department and.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because of there or
Sorry,
if it's.
Third Avenue, she's on Third, you're on, what's your
East
house
Third,
number?
East 25.
155, sorry, she's right by Downing School.
Right.
So wherever the main is there, I would think.
It's right there at the end of the property.
You're saying the clean out is where it backs up, not the stormwater.
No, where my
Clean out.
vent is.
Right, that's
Event
your
comes
clean
up.
out, that's for you, that's your, but there's a main for the area.
Yeah, that's out there, the big
Right,
man.
so we should.
That never looks open.
No, I never see it, no.
No, so, okay. We'll address it, we'll have to go out, we'll pull record to see how often they've been out, so.
Yeah, it's good, yeah. Thank you.
No problem, thanks.
Thanks. Have a good night.
You know my address, Mary Kendra, 12 South Oakland Avenue. With regard to the snow, and I was going to say this even before, something to keep in mind, and it benefits the residents as well, in front of the schools, by leaving the piles, regardless of what you decide with your snow emergency routes, by leaving piles near the schools, it interferes with, in other words, someone's always going to, I watch the parents do it, not at Bowles, at Bingham, at Downing. If there's piles where they wouldn't normally park, whether it's yellow or not, they then pull in front of residents' driveways. Do you understand what I'm saying? I know I called a few years ago, it was not this administration, but I called a few years ago because you literally couldn't park outside the elementary schools. Parents were blocking resident driveways. The residents were angry, but so too were the parents, because there was nowhere at all to park. You know, so it's something to keep in mind when you do the route, that around the schools, even if it's not a snow emergency route, if you're gonna leave piles of snow, you're inviting a problem. You know, it does definitely open up a problem in terms of the parents that are already parking in the yellow now, parking in front of, residents' driveways. It's just something to think about. The other thing is, that I have is, with regard to the lighting at Harry Williams, there were other bids last year, because I met with like JPK Electric and Don Washington. I mean, I was there specifically when they did it, so I don't know if you're gonna reach out, for other bids, but I met extensively with JPK, regarding the whole LED. He had the exact, I believe it was like apples to apples, the quotes, if I'm not mistaken, but if you're looking for additional ones.
We're required to get more bids. So.
Yeah, no, I know, I'm throwing out there who was there last year, because they're obviously very aware of the situation there. So that was one reason I said, thank you. Have a wonderful night. Smile. Always, on the inside and the morning.
I make a motion to close, did you want to? I want to make a motion to close the public portion. We're closed?
I have a question. Wait, before you close it, do you have a list of your meetings for 2015 yet, the dates or not?
That's 15, not yet, that's what happened.
Well, I told my constituents on the school board that, but they asked that I ask them.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
You seconded it.
Sure.
All those in favor?
Aye.